I think I have 3 moderators now. Ben, another streamer who is one of my first followers, Jordan, and then Ninja. Wee. Nightbot's our friend, yeah. Oh, that was no spammer. Sorry. It freezes, becomes more solid, but not all the way solid. And one of those liquid characteristics, it's like semi holding its own shape, but not so much that it would otherwise be unaffected by gravity. Glass blowing in orbit would be interesting. The Trek Nerd, oh my god, I love that you brought that up. I used to waste an exorbitant amount of time fantasizing about what glass blowing in zero gravity would be like. It's like you don't have to turn, you just have to rotate yourself around the glass to shape it all the way around. Make a perfect clarity. They can achieve characteristics they can't do in gravity. And I take his word for it because Ian's a smarter guy than I am, but it was entirely theoretical. I wasn't sure how much had actually been experimented.
Well, that's how you would experiment.
Was accepted. But we got like 7 seconds. Coming to you. Oop.
That's it. Do one more.
Awesome. So the cap of the jellyfish, the band under the cap, and they'll look close enough like they're glowing.
They go. It's like the casing.
Right, they're just catching the light and refracting it around. This is neat to watch. I'm so glad you think so. Thank you so much. For about 2 years, but I envision like we could have the audience select a prompt or a briefing, and then we've got 10 different glass blowers trying to make that item, but in real time on their streams. Kind of like we can produce our own version of Blown Away, but where everybody's working in their home studios or in their hometown studios. They don't have to travel. Wondering if he's home or if that was just a video he already had on his phone. He looks tired. I don't think he's been home in like pretty much since the class. But I'm trying to get back to Dragon Ranch.
I'd like to get a couple of these chandelier kits that they were saying they were going to be working out.
Yeah.
I was talking to Sandy a couple weeks ago. She said she's been trying to get in touch with Bob about getting them done. He's busy.
Hey, thank you, Ninja. You are on the right wavelength of different commands that I've been meaning to. Birdie. We certainly don't like hearing how awesome we are. That is. I got it.
As I sit down, you'll see I'll just run the tools over it and shape it for taking another gather on the outside. I need to even out the heat and the shape together. Right now it's pretty unevenly heated, but watch the way I do this. Make it more of a cylinder while cooling it from the outside in place. Now I have a much more even and still very stiff. That's why I have to be so firm with it, because this color does not mess around. It makes you heat it a lot just to get a little movement out of it. So, but that's good. That's what you want for pulling cane like this, because you want the color to hold up over all the different things that you're going to be asking it to do, which is stretch it out once, stretch it out twice, blow it out, stretch it out while blowing it out, and open it up. And if you want it to stay there and show up, then you have to start with a thick enough piece of glass. You have to cool it just the right way and use the most dense glass or dense color that you can. So, if anybody has any questions, please just shout them all out. pretty sticky today. And pretty full. I'm marveling at so that the sides stay thick and even, and I didn't worry about the tip at all, because the faster I spin, the less color or the less clear is around the tip. So now when I get to cooling it, over here, chill out the tip a bit. Now I have nice thick sides and a color exposed tip. I'm going to take another gather here. This will be my post. Post made on the end of that iron. Let that cool. And I'll start heating this up more and more. Get it ready to stretch. Which means also cooling down the tip. So I super cool the tip and then superheat the whole thing so that when it stretches, it pulls away from the pipe easier than it would if I had only been constantly reheating the tip without a super shawl. Now I'm going to set this up there. Leave my post there. Sorry for the bad angles there. But it's working out, and I'll show you more as it cools, but I'm going to keep stretching and stretching. I have the iron over there propped with another pair of jacks against the angle of the bench. It gives me the ability to get all this stretched out to the full length of the room, assuming I got a decent heat in there, which luckily I did. Now, just kind of giving it time to set up and be what it is for a second here before we lay it down. It's still certainly cooling from the outside in all the way up and down the length of this piece. So now I'll lay it down. Go get the other side. Just lay that down on the ground and grab some wet tweezers while it's still warm. Stress it out and break it. Going to break it down real quick. The wet tweezers help you get it down to arm length or something and keep it consolidated. Now I can decide if I want to reheat and re-pull either of these sides. I'm going to re-pull this one because this one is already pulled at a 90-degree angle. So go back in here, soak in the heat for a little while. Yeah. Especially the solo pull is a little complicated when you're doing this. And then there's the remembering to turn the fans off at the right time, which I didn't do this time, but it still worked out very well. That's okay. But I'm going to spend a heat or two just reheating this extra slug of color because I want more canes in my next bit. I want to use this. So I'm going to quench the tip again. I'll spend a little time working the heat into this, gather it evenly so that when it stretches, it'll stretch nicely and it won't turn into a big spike. Okay, so now I'm building up the heat pretty good. I've been chilling out the thinnest glass and reheating the thickest glass. So when I stretch it, I'm just going to first sling it down, get the real swinging length out of it. And now, as it stretches, I'll cool the thinnest part. Excuse me, a little extra. Gives me a nice long draw out of the thickest part. And that's an extra really even 5 feet or so. is a much better use of that last color. So let that cool in the bucket. We'll pick it up and reuse it again for the next pull, which I need to set up for, because I'm going to be using this device that I put together back in the COVID days. My father-in-law helped me find just the right winch, but from the boating store. He knew all the right words to say and to look for, and found me just the right wall-mounted locking boat winch that is awesome. It does the job perfectly. I guess I can unplug this. So I have this hook pulleyed to the ceiling that I can hang out right down here. And then there's a winch right there that's going to lock it. And I can pull down when I hook the iron to this. I guess I need to be a little lower because I'm not that tall. But I can just keep this out here and I can walk away from it. Excuse me. I can walk away from the pipe as it stretches. And it will just hang itself there so I can take it off. And you guys get to see it in motion for the first time. Not really the first time. I've used it a few times. But you want to see complicated, Greg? Let's do some complicated. So I got my metal plate here. Okay, so I'm just going to do it all right here instead of taking it to the back of the shop where I don't have a camera and I can't show you a big picture of what I'm doing. But in the back I have a chopper that does a lot of these at once and very well and consistently. But I'm going to do it by hand. They still have a minute to cool down a bit. Okay, so I want to get a lot of canes used, so I don't want to chop these too long. Go ahead and give you my handless shot here. Boom. Okay, now can you back up? Nope. It's just going to be like that. Maybe I'll come over here. There we go. All right. That's the trick. All right, so as I cut these, I'm going to be consistent. I can do about 3 at a time. If I were to guess, I'd say that's a solid 5 inches. Doesn't really matter because I'm just eyeballing it to be consistent with the next one anyways. So all is well. Then that will work for whatever I'm doing as long as they are consistent. And then I'll really be able to see the difference in diameter. Like I can see now this is much thicker, and that's going right next to the skinny ones. Even that one might get thrown in. Okay, now we have pretty much the whole thing chopped down into 5-inch segments. And I'm going to line these up on that metal plate. Some of the scummy, burnt-on wax. Scrape that off of there and line these up. I want some gaps. I want some fat ones. I want some skinny ones. And actually, I think I want enough here to be able to do 2 roll-ups out of this. If I do this all as one roll-up, it'll be bigger than it should be for what I'm using it for. I really want extra saturation, which means less clear, more proportionately more canes. So I get a nicer effect if I do a smaller pull. So I'm going to spread these out like a white barcode, I guess. I'll do 2 roll-ups off of here. Whatever I get on the second one, whatever I get from the first one, I get on the second one. Okay, excuse me, can you see? Oh, there they go. It's okay, they don't need to be careful anyways. It's so funny, I was showing you guys Marini last week and I had it all dammed up around the edges. I forgot about how easy it is to forget. Canes roll a lot faster than Marinis, and you gotta have a dam up if you want to hold it up like that. But you get the idea. This goes into this oven. That's heating up at about 1,000, just under 1,000. That's my regular annealer here, so I can still have best of kind of stuff. So now I just got to make the best of, right? That's the hard part. So here's my first gather. ahead and get my tools I dropped. Oh, hey Ray, good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Okay, so let me go ahead and take my last gather here. So I'm taking a strip gather into the furnace here, letting it run off quite a bit. I really don't need much more than what I had on that first. I just want a nice even gather. Now, if I go headless here, I might be able to get you in there and show you. I've got all my canes heated up in the oven here. Just roll them all up onto the end of this gather. Phil, don't worry, we're here with you. Actually, I kind of wish I was at the beach too. It wouldn't be the worst thing to be today. Mr. Humble Brag. Yeah, it's a nice, cool 75 and sunny. I don't think I've seen any clouds showing up to the party today, but it's a beautiful day. So I'm doing a lot of marvering here to balance this temperature out from the outside to inside and get these canes blended with the same texture and heat as the base gather. So I'm really staying in here a while now to build up extra heat into the gather. I'll bring it over to the big table and roll it out. And as it rolls out, you'll see that the temperature is starting to balance out from inside to the outside. And then I'll flatten it, because I want this to be flat cane. Okay, now we're getting ready to build up the heat for the final pull. I'm just gonna keep coming out and maybe cooling the sides a bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to hang it and start my pull.
Is everybody in the world gonna die before someone fights here?
There's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed.
There we go. Okay. Preheat the gloves a little bit, get my tweezers, and start going to get the crack off. Let me see if I can give you a better view again.
Was that it? Was it? If somebody can hear me, answer me.
Okay. Now I can break off the pipe. So I have this winch over here. I can release and let it down from the ceiling.
For God's sake, answer me.
So that is how I stretch flat cane by myself. Okay, so I'm going to start off by going in here and taking a gather of clear. This is my standard large blowpipe that I use. I call it my big pipe because I still have a big pipe. My big pipe is for the big pieces. This is not a big piece that needs to be made today. This is just a sample for a lamp. So I'll marver the glass back a little bit, let it run back, and then I'm going to blow and let that bubble just pop right out. Now I can let that bubble pop all the way through and just become cellophane, blow it through, and I will have more of a collar around the end of the pipe